How's it going, guys? Welcome back to another edition of the Athletes Hub podcast. WrestleMania 42 is not far away, and as always, I'm here with my good buddy Kieran to discuss the latest ongoings in WWE. Yeah, Kieran, we're back again. WrestleMania 42 is not far away, and I know we've spoken about a lot about sort of the state of the current products in WWE and I guess the lack of stars, right, in the business. And I think the main questions, I know we'll talk about Cody Rhodes, who dethroned Drew McIntyre on this past week's SmackDown to become, I think he's a 3-time World Heavyweight Champion now, right, since his return to the company. I think firstly, obviously touching on Cody Rhodes, why can't the WWE build new stars? Because it seems like, again, the backlash towards Cody beating Drew McIntyre on SmackDown has been quite big. And it's just like a revolving cycle at the moment. There's a lot of backlash about the booking of certain superstars. Listen, I like Cody Rhodes. I think he's a great babyface. I think some of the best feuds we've seen in recent years have involved Cody Rhodes, besides the Bloodline storyline. But why can't WWE build new stars? Like, what key reason they can't do that?
I think that it's like, I don't think it's as simple as just one particular issue. What I think is, first and foremost, you have to have the appetite to build the new stars. You have to want to build them. And that means giving guys opportunities. I think the last time we did an episode, I spoke about guys like LA Knight, who, for me, there aren't many better than him. All round. I know that some of the newer generation wrestling fans and these hipsters online, they love the gymnastics and acrobatics, but that doesn't sell. He is a good wrestler. He's fantastic on the mic. He moves a lot of merch, and he's over with the crowd. But for some reason, there seems to be a block at boardroom level where he can't get to that next level, which means holding a big title, whether it's the Undisputed title or the WWE title. Triple H just doesn't want to give him the chance. And we've seen it with a few guys in the last couple of years. I think also that it's the talent. The talent isn't there, really. We see, and I'll use someone like Jey Uso as an example. WWE, they put everything behind Jey Uso. They put him in sponsorships. He was super hot with the crowd. He was the heavyweight champion. Royal Rumble winner. So he really had the world at his feet. And then you just saw over time that, because a lot of people were saying, okay, that maybe he can follow in Roman's footsteps, Roman Reigns, but you saw the limitations in his repertoire, and now really he's almost become like a shtick. He's a gimmick, and his gimmick is let's run it back, yeet, let's run it back, and it's basically his entrance, and that's it, And so the good thing, I think, for the future, I'm sure we'll get into later on in the episode, is there are a couple of guys coming through that really have caught my eye, and I'm like, maybe the future isn't as bad as we thought it would be. But just
in terms of the recent episode of SmackDown, Cody Rhodes winning the WWE Championship again, how did you receive that? Because I know you sent me a sort of graphic that said that as probably one of the most disliked videos on YouTube. And that actually reminds me of when Jey Uso won the Royal Rumble, and that also was disliked heavily by the fans on the official WWE YouTube channel. Do you think that him winning the championship again, because I know we'll talk about Drew McIntyre in a bit, but do you think that Cody Rhodes winning the championship again, is that pretty much a sign of the bookings all over the place? They don't know what they're doing. What was your reaction to that?
Yeah, it was exactly that. The booking is all over the place. I also feel like with Cody, I told you, I fell asleep and I woke up at 2 a.m. UK time. So I had a feeling around half 3 in the morning, the main event would be on. So I stayed up. I said, I want to watch this because I want to see if the WWE are going to force Cody Rhodes into the main event of WrestleMania, or have they actually, put the time in and given us a unique story with Cody this time? No, they just threw him in. I hated it. It feels forced. And, like I said to you off camera, I have a feeling that with Cody Rhodes, the WWE have an agenda, because he's already said in the next couple of years he's going to be out of the WWE, out of wrestling, because he wants to transition to Hollywood, which is fine, if that's his prerogative. But they want to push this agenda, in my opinion. You'll see it play out in real time in the next few years. That Cody, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's had a Hall of Fame career, which is absolute bullshit. Cody Rhodes is not a Hall of Famer. He will never be a Hall of Famer in any other era. Even if you go,
but you say he's not Hall of Famer. He will. The thing is, you say he's not Hall of Famer, but listen, we all know he's going to go in the Hall of Fame. Like when that time comes, he will be inducted because of his family legacy and also his return, what he achieved in that time. He's going to be just like his brother Dustin Rhodes. They're going to be Hall of Famers. Maybe I agree. He's not had a Hall of Fame career, but in a short spell he's had and his family legacy in wrestling, he's going to be a Hall of Famer. He's going to go in there, whether we like or not. That's going to happen.
Okay, I take that point, but what my point is, it's not organic, Rich. It's not organic, and that's the problem for me. If it was like, for example, Roman Reigns, I couldn't stand his big dog gimmick. I hated it, and I thought this guy has no talent. How the hell has he even got a job here? He should be working in Subway outside the arena. And then I saw the evolution of the head of the table, tribal chief gimmick. And I was like, wow. One of the first times ever in my 30 years of watching WWE, I got it way wrong. He had talent. He was being held back by some shocking writing and some shocking booking. And he's absolutely, for me, a first ballot Hall of Famer now. I can't say the same for Cody. Cody Rhodes don't even have a character. He don't have a gimmick. I'm Dusty Son. Let me finish my story. It's not even your story. It's your dad's story that you're finishing, because your dad wasn't good enough to get it done. So you've come and finished the job. Okay, cool. Now, like.
I think, but the thing is, again, I like Cody. The thing about Cody, and I agree, I think he's lifted off his family legacy for a long time. Listen, he was Stardust. He had a few gimmicks, the dashing gimmick years ago as well. I remember him with Ted DiBiase Jr. in Legacy, and that looked like a promising stable at one point. But I think that Cody, again, he's a great babyface. I agree that he's become stale and he's not a great champion, because when he's champion, there's nothing really for him to do or to get the crowd in, to get, I guess, viewers involved in, right? But I look at some of the feuds he's had in recent years, they've probably involved Cody Rhodes, and they've probably been the best feuds in the company's recent history, I would say. But again, it all comes down to sort of like the booking. But I remember last time we did an episode, you said that Triple H didn't know what he was doing. Do you still maintain that he still doesn't know what he's doing? There's been a lot of backlash of it from fans about recent booking decisions, even like the Royal Rumble. There wasn't that great, to be honest. Like, what's your thoughts on Triple H so far? Do you think that he's done a good job, or are you still maintaining your point that this guy's a booker, just doesn't know what he's doing?
There was a clip that came out on it circulated social media this week. As I don't know if you're aware, I'm pretty sure the viewers will be aware though, that Road Dogg has left WWE now. He's no longer part of the booking and writing team. And the clip was surrounding the return of R-Truth after he'd been released. His contract was coming to an end and they weren't going to renew it. And there was such an outcry in the arena and on social media that they secretly gave him a new deal and booked him into an angle where he'd be a masked figure, and he came back, and it was a great moment, not just for wrestling but for R-Truth. because it was like you work 20 years for just this one moment where he's getting the love he really deserves, you know. And so in this clip that's circulating, the Road Dogg is saying that, you know, R-Truth changing his appearance and cutting his hair, it's a significant shift in his gimmick, in his character, and so he should be treated as such in a more serious tone going against John Cena and Triple H. I don't know if he was being dense or if he was just of the... So it's my opinion, he wasn't being dense. He just didn't want to push R-Truth against John Cena or in general, because as you can see, R-Truth has returned to his comedic gimmick, which is so sad in my opinion, because that angle had so much potential, and in 30 seconds or 60 seconds, however long the clip was, you can see the Road Dogg's had enough. So he's just said, oh, do you know what? Forget it. I can't wait for John Cena to beat him so we can just move past this. Because he can see in the conversation he's having with Triple H that Triple H has no intention of giving this any real thought or any love, this story. Yeah. And it's so strange because Triple H has been in the business for so long, and he's been part of some incredible eras in the WWE. So, like I said, to me, he wasn't being dense, although it may come across that way, because his argument was, well, it's Wednesday, and you're trying to convince me that by Sunday, this is a whole new guy, and he's now dangerous, and Cena should be scared of this guy. Well, this is kind of how wrestling works.
Well, the thing I didn't get about, and that's a good sort of Triple H not really listening to his writers. I mean, Road Dogg has come under criticism because of SmackDown's recent book, and he hasn't always been great, right? But as you said, he did make a good point about R-Truth, and I think R-Truth, going back to his comedic sort of moniker, listen, the comedic moniker worked. Vince McMahon loved R-Truth's comedic moniker because it was funny. Again, it's wrestling, it's sports entertainment, isn't it, really? But at the same time, when Ron Killings was in TNA, he was a big deal there, right? He was a main player, and I don't understand why they couldn't just... I know you mentioned he Triple H worry about, well, we can't just believe that this guy's all of a sudden just changed now and he's a serious player. We've got to take him seriously. Well, why not just go back to his TNA days? They own TNA partly now, I think, if I'm correct. AJ Styles, has been there. They've referenced his time in TNA. Why can't you just reference Ron Killings, in TNA? And he was NWA champion there as well. But I agree with you. This was a serious part, and that he cut his hair on live TV on the announce table, that signified a big deal, and they didn't take it anywhere, and that was disappointing, to be honest with you, because as much as R-Truth is entertaining and the fans love that side of him, it was such a great opportunity to see the serious side of him now and what he could actually do.
Yeah, I agree with you. But, the thing is, the story's there. The story's there. You're saying, well, why would we believe he's dangerous now? Well, he's gone. He's gone, and he thinks that his whole career has been for nothing. He gets a second chance, and now he's like, you know what? No more comedy. I'm coming in hot, and they just was like, no, we're not doing that. So it was a big disappointment for me, and it sums up Triple H's booking. Like I said before, I think I said it when we were talking about Cody. I personally think that there is a ceiling for certain, not for certain guys, but there's probably a list in Triple H's desk of the guys that he wants to be on the top. And if you're not on that list, no matter how good you are, no matter how over you are, you're never ever gonna climb the ladder. LA Knight is a perfect example of that.
So, I mean, Triple H as a booker, do you think that at the moment, do you think we will see any progress? Do you think WWE will get to the point? Because Vince McMahon had a lot of critics, right, towards the end of his time as the head of WWE and being because the product also wasn't always great towards the end of his time there, right? But Vince McMahon had this knack of producing really big superstars, right? He could take moments and he could mold these superstars into massive global figures. You look at maybe The Rock, you look at the Stone Cold promo, King of the Ring 96, that moment really kind of didn't make Stone Cold, but he elevated him to the next level, right? Again, The Rock in the Nation of Domination, he became a massive superstar as well. Hulk Hogan, as we all know. So Vince McMahon had a knack of really knowing how to build superstars, where it seems like as much as how massive the roster is now in WWE, in current WWE, Triple H maybe is struggling to really get, because they're bringing back all these new superstars, they're bringing back all these previous superstars. Now, CM Punk has come back for another run. He left, years ago, and he's the main event picture now. Whereas there are superstars who we'll talk about in a bit who I feel, if they're given direction, as you mentioned, LNI, if they're given direction and a consistent chance, maybe they could actually produce. But do you feel like Triple H as a booker? Do you think we'll see another spark in WWE again? Because it feels like quite bland at the moment.
It's funny because before I came on, I was thinking that exact thing, and then I was thinking about what, in the last couple of years, what were the most exciting stories? And we had a lot of bloodline stuff, with Sami Zayn, Jey Uso, with The Rock. And then I thought about, what was the most exciting story the most recently? And it was the John Cena heel turn. And the one common denominator in all of those stories is they involved guys from the past. I don't look at Roman Reigns as a current guy or a Triple H guy. He's a guy from the past. And it's just like, now we know, I think it's fair to say The Rock will not be coming back.
Yeah.
And the Roman Reigns is at the tail end of his career. So now it's like, okay, you're looking on the horizon. Who's the next guy to come through that could possibly save us and give us something exciting to be like, you know what? Even if the rest of the show sucks, the main event is going to be really good because this guy's going to carry it. And I don't see anybody. Maybe, like I said, for the future, there are a couple guys that could potentially be that person. But right now, there's nobody there. There's nobody there. CM Punk is looking tired and old. And that's not a diss to CM Punk. But CM Punk, he's probably also at the tail end of his career. And the WWE haven't transitioned well in introducing the young guys and pushing them to make us believe these are the new guys that could carry the company, So I don't know. I think really what Triple H needs is he needs fresh ideas. So he needs someone in that office with him who isn't just a yes man. Someone who's going to stand up, because like Road Dogg, he seemed like he wanted to stand up to him, but he didn't stand up to him. Maybe because Triple H, maybe because they're friends, off camera, or maybe because he just knows Triple H is very headstrong. And once he has an idea, that's it. This is my idea, and we're not going past that.
Yeah. But definitely, it's similar to Vince, though, isn't it? Because Vince was also very headstrong as well. But he had people around him like Pat, going back to olden days, Pat Patterson, Jim Ross was part of the booking team for a bit, John Briscoe, like old school wrestling heads who wouldn't be afraid to disagree with Vince. But again, when Vince had an idea, and more times back then, it worked, right? Because we saw great moments. A lot of our memories, you mentioned the superstars, we could always filter in and out of different eras, right? But there'll be certain superstars who would be constant, whether it would be Shawn Michaels, Hulk Hogan, The Rock, John Cena for a long time, Ric Flair would come in and out, particularly in that Ruthless Aggression era. But you look at that era from 2002 to about 2007, we had that boom where we had Evolution, right? And that, I guess, that group of superstars, Batista, John Cena, Shelton Benjamin, Randy Orton, they all came from a certain school. And WWE has got a school, NXT now, right? Which used to be a school. Yeah. But it feels like we're still missing those star powers. Maybe they're there, but they're just not being utilized correctly. So I get your point. Triple H needs someone who's going to I guess, be strong enough to kind of challenge him a lot more. Maybe they are, but as you said, maybe he's just being headstrong. But it reminds me, it takes me back to someone who we referenced earlier, and Drew McIntyre, I felt from 2020, when he won the WWE Championship from Brock Lesnar in that COVID period, he looked strong. He looked very, very strong. But it felt as if since that moment, he kind of dipped in and out of the main event scene. I loved his feud with CM Punk. I think he benefited from that. You look at Drew McIntyre now, his promo work is fantastic. His in-ring work is great as well. And he's also incorporating that social media stuff into his character and into his wrestling work, which has been very, very good. And we spoke about this off camera, and I love Drew, and I feel like he should have been given more time as a champion. And obviously, Cody Rhodes has dethroned him now. But what's your thoughts on Drew McIntyre's booking? Because it seems like he's been working with guys who are the guy, but he's never really been pushed to be the guy. Vince McMahon gave him that period in 2020 when he won it from Brock. But what's been your thoughts on Drew McIntyre's tenure since then?
Well, first of all, I think Drew McIntyre is fantastic. I personally think he's definitely at the very, very top of the card. He's amazing. He I remember when I first saw Drew McIntyre back in like 2009, 2010. I was like,
the Broken Dreams era.
Yeah, this guy is trash. He hasn't got the look. He not that interesting on the mic. But seeing his evolution, going away from WWE, coming back, I mean, he's been so good. I personally think he definitely earned that WWE title, or the undisputed title he was carrying up till SmackDown, where he lost it to Cody Rhodes. I think the booking has been very like hit and miss with Drew, and I don't really know like what are the reasons behind that. This guy's clearly head and shoulders above anything else you've got, maybe bar Jacob Fatu on SmackDown, right? Where I think Jacob is like right there with him in terms of talent, but Drew should be running through the roster. I'm not saying he should be doing a Goldberg-esque run and just going like 173 matches without losing, but yeah, he should be dominating, and he should be in and around the title constantly.
Yeah,
because he's that good, and it doesn't really make sense unless it's a special story like the one he had with CM Punk, where you can mitigate him not being around the title and say, okay, this story kind of supersedes the title because it's so unique, it's so interesting, and people are invested.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love Drew. I really do. And
he's cool. I think his feud with CM Punk, I think that probably got feud of the year in 2024, and that Bad Blood Hell in a Cell match was fantastic as well. But I've always loved Drew. He comes across like, again, you're right. When you look at Drew when he first came onto the scene years ago, and look at him now, it looks like a completely different person. He's bulked up. His promo work is fantastic. He's really aggressive now, right? He's a serious player, and they've just not taken advantage of that for whatever reason. But he reminds me of Triple H in a way, who was the guy who worked with the guy, wasn't the guy. And I think maybe they're kind of treating Drew the same now. But again, historically, British wrestlers, like maybe the British Bulldog had a period where he had a boom, and William Regal was in and out as well, was more of a mid-card player. Maybe it's something about him being Scottish, or maybe they just don't see English people, British people as people who can work at the very, very top, maybe. I don't know. But as you said, looking at his last 3 years, there's no reason why he couldn't be elevated to that level. But we look at someone now who's kind of bursting the scene now, right? Obafemi, he's someone who's over right now. Like his entrance is over. He looks good in the ring. He's big. He's aggressive. I know you think he's going to be the Brock Lesnar's opponent for his open challenge at WrestleMania as well. What's your thoughts on Obafemi and his start to life coming up from NXT, now on the main roster on SmackDown, Raw? What's your thoughts on what he could achieve going forward?
I think the sky is the limit for Obafemi. I really do. I really love him. I think, I watched him in NXT dominate for like 2 years straight, and you kind of know when they like lose the belt on NXT that they're coming up. So I was really apprehensive about seeing him come up to the main roster, because I was like, we've seen guys come up who are super talented and their bookings kind of like hit and miss. Whereas in NXT, the beauty of NXT is there's such a continuity from week to week with the stories. And then you really do get to see who's got it and who hasn't got it. And he's got it, man. And since he's come up to the main roster, he hasn't missed, solid matches, solid promo work. Yeah, the sky's the limit for him. It really is.
It kind of reminds a bit of sorry, go on.
I was just going to say, I just hope that he doesn't lose his way, get lost in the shuffle. I think he's too good to get lost in the shuffle, but I do not trust Triple H to take care of any guy now, unless it's Cody Rhodes. And make sure they don't get lost in the shuffle. But it's true, man. It's true. Listen, if you're Cody, you know you're good. You're eating good. You're getting main events of SummerSlam, WrestleMania. You're going to be in the last 3 of the Rumble. You're probably going to win the title twice a year. You're good. You're good, right? But everyone else, you have to be looking over your shoulder. Am I going to be in meaningful stories? Am I going to be in contention to have special moments throughout the year,
But kind of reminds me of, but do you remember Bobby Lashley burst on the scene in 2005 or 2006, and he looked really good. Then he went on to have that storyline with Umaga and Donald Trump and Vince McMahon and the whole head shave thing at WrestleMania 23. And then after that, he kind of got lost. He kind of left WWE. And then he went to TNA, came back, looked really good, but he wasn't the same. He was never really like a main event guy, I don't think, but actually. And you hope that Obafemi doesn't go down the same route. But again, Triple H was an NXT guy. He worked there before he got promoted to Chief Content Officer. So you would think that he would look at NXT candidates like Obafemi and really push them if they've got it, like he has, and hope that he will be the main event. But like you said, it'd be interesting to see if he's the one who does answer Brock Lesnar's open challenge at WrestleMania 42. But I think now what we're going to do is we're going to have, in this segment, I'm going to give you a few superstars, and then you can give me a quick sort of overview what you think what they like, what they can do going forward, like we did in our last episode, and it'd be good to get your thoughts on that. So firstly, Finn Balor, he's currently part of the Judgment Day. I think we're going to see a babyface turn soon from Finn Balor. I think the Judgment Day is close to imploding, really. And I remember Finn Balor as a demon, really good character, really good in the ring as well. I think he was the first Universal Champion, right? He won the tournament to become the first Universal Champion. And it kind of seems like his career's kind of dipped up and down since that point. What's your thoughts on Finn Balor? And do you think that it's time that he broke away from the Judgment Day?
Well, first of all, I would say no, it's not time that he broke away from the Judgment Day. I really like Finn Balor. But I would say if it wasn't for the Judgment Day, where would he be? Where would he be? Like, where was he before the Judgment Day? Nowhere.
No, yeah.
Now he was just another guy, right? Now he's in the Judgment Day, and they're teasing some friction between him and Dom, which they have been for the last year and a half. But it looks like it could be the year that we do see Finn versus Dom, which is, something I think would be a good story. I'm actually on the fence about the face turn, though, because I see a lot more potential in Dominic Mysterio becoming a babyface. And then, I think he can do it. And I think the crowd would really get behind it. Whereas if Finn turns face, he'd have to leave the Judgment Day, which doesn't really make sense anyway to me. Because if Finn turns face, leaves the Judgment Day, he's going to have the feud with Dom, but then what? Then what? Like, where does he go from there? And I think that's the what's making me apprehensive about him pulling away from the Judgment Day.
I think again, Finn is really good in ring, right? He's exciting to watch. Again, he had that demon character years ago, which was also popular with fans. But you also think about how long can the Judgment Day go on? I mean, you're right. Maybe if he was to leave the Judgment Day, he wouldn't necessarily benefit from that right now. But at the same time, it's like I think that there's someone in there who could be a great babyface, to be honest. Who he's likable, he's good in the ring. You know, he's got the persona again of the demon that fans love. So maybe him breaking away, having a singles run with a title potentially could. I know Penta beat Dominic Mysterio on Raw for the IC Championship. But if he had a title, I think that would really elevate Finn in a way.
But to what end?
Yeah,
it would elevate.
That's the question for all the superstars, though. Right now, with how the booking is, if you've not got a title, you're not in a stable, then
not really, because there are some guys they're so talented that they transcend the title, and you know, I'm a traditionalist, so I love seeing the top guys with the titles. But there was some they don't need a title because they just have that much aura. People like Drew McIntyre, Jacob Fatu. Even though, you know, I'm petitioning for him to hold the WWE title, LA Knight. These guys, they don't need it. Someone like Finn Balor, as much as I do like Finn and he's incredibly talented, he's not on that level. So you can give him the title, but then it's like, you know, okay, he's got the title, now what? Now, okay, we put him in some feuds here and there, but ultimately, he will fall to the wayside. The longer he's in the Judgment Day, the more longevity he gets, in my opinion. The more screen time he gets, the more, you know, segments he'll get with Dom and with the other members of the Judgment Day, Roxanne, Liv, and Raquel. It's better for him to stay there for now. Eventually, he's going to leave anyway because you'll get him versus Dom. But for now, I don't think they should rush that. Because, you know, we've seen the WWE pull the trigger on guys and expect them to now pick up the ball and run with it, and they kind of and then they're like, oh, they stop because they hit the wall for their potential, you know.
Yeah, that makes sense. I like Finn. I think he's good. I love the demon character. I think that was really good as well. That was over with the fans, particularly in NXT. But somebody else, you know, Jade Cargill, which I love. I love the way she looks. She looks like a goddess, to be honest. Fantastic, and obviously acquired from AEW, coming to WWE. It looks like she's going to face Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania as well.
Yeah.
I like her. I think she's built really well. She looks like a superstar. You talk about female superstar. She has it. Like, she looks like a superstar.
Yeah, she does.
But there's also been talk about her title reign not really living up to expectations. Her in-ring work hasn't been great. I loved her couple of matches with Jordynne Grace on SmackDown. I think they were decent matches, but I think Jordynne Grace is a great wrestler.
Yeah, she is.
As well. I think that helped with Jade. So what's your thoughts on Jade Cargill and her WWE run so far?
Well, first of all, I have to echo everything you said. I think she looks phenomenal. And she looks like if you had like a model of what a top female star would look like, it would be Jade Cargill. She is incredible, and she's very good on the mic too. Although some people don't really like her, sometimes monotone. I think that's okay when you're a heel, because it's almost like menacing vibes. With regards to her title reign, it's hard to criticize her. And I said the same thing on the last episode about Cody Rhodes. You know, you can't criticize the champion because they don't book themselves. If it was up to me, I'd be booking the champion in a segment at least every show. Every show, the champion should be there and be in a segment. They should be on TV every week without fail, in a promo with someone or in a match. So yeah, you just got to look at the booking. That's absolutely nothing to do with Jade Cargill. She's not injured, she's available, and they just ain't booking her correctly. And anyone who has a different opinion of that, is an idiot and they don't know anything about wrestling. That's how it is. That's how it is. It was the same for Cody. It was the same for everyone else. Anyone else that has a title and isn't on TV, isn't wrestling, isn't defending it, you need to look at Triple H. Don't look at the wrestler. Look at Triple H. It's not real life. They don't decide when they defend it. It's the booker that books them.
Yeah.
And then with her in-ring ability, yeah, I gotta be honest, she's not one of my favorites in the ring. She has a fantastic finisher, but other than that, it's kind of like.
Do you know what? I'm surprised that they didn't book her as like a dominant woman on the roster, because she kind of reminds me a bit of like China. She's like a combination of China and Jacqueline. Like, I think she could be legit if they let her be legit. But China wasn't necessarily always the best in the ring either, but she was built and she was booked to be somebody who can match the males in the ring. And I think Jade Cargill has the potential to be like a monster, right? Like she's built like it. But I don't think they've given her the opportunity to do that. I think her matches with Jordynne Grace were a chance to prove that she's legitimate in the ring. But again, I feel like Jordan's so good in the ring. She kind of not carried her, but she was a big reason as to why those matches were so good.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of surprised they didn't book her in that way to make her look really legit.
I think I agree with you on how they should book her, like in terms of her wrestling matches. But I also feel like we're at a stage where women's wrestling is constantly going up. It's just on an upward trajectory. And they have almost evolved past what they were in the 90s.
Yeah.
In terms of, China just like manhandling certain female superstars. I think it would almost be a disservice to and plus, how are you going to get them to really get on board with that? How does that help them? Because these females now, they're not just eye candy. I mean, they still look very good, but they can actually wrestle. They can actually wrestle, which wasn't the case.
It's true, but I think no, you're right. But I feel like you look at someone like, look at the women's roster, look at superstars like Bianca Belair, look at Rhea Ripley's legit, Jade Cargill looks legit, Jordynne Grace look legit. But then again, you look at someone like Maxine Dupree, or you're looking at maybe Natalia, whose booking's been a bit all over the place recently. Like women, or even Chelsea Green, who they've spoken about as, there's not really sure about, is she going to be someone they can rely on in the future. But those superstars I mentioned previously, if you book them strongly, I'm not saying that they're going to run through the roster, but there could be a lot more legitimacy about them in terms of, in a competitive sense, in terms of if you put them in the ring with someone like Rhea Ripley could beat you up. Like, she could beat up a lot of the women. That's what it looks like, right?
Yeah.
I think Jade Cargill could do the same. And Jordynne Grace, even though she's short, could do the same as well. So I think, but again, it comes down to, as you mentioned, how they're booking these superstars, and they don't book themselves. So that's obviously a hiccup there. But I think one of my favorites is Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. I think we're going to see, I know Liv is going to face Stephanie at WrestleMania Championship, and it looks like there's friction in the Judgment Day, like you mentioned, and I think Raquel is going to play a part in the outcome of that match, whether Liv wins or she doesn't win and Raquel maybe costs her mistakenly. I think something's going to happen in that match. What's been your thoughts on them as a duo, and also Raquel? I think she could be a great solo superstar.
So again, I'll get to Raquel individually in a moment, but just like with Finn Balor, see, I think unlike Finn Balor, Raquel's trajectory is like this. She's on the upward curve, but you just worry, like, if you take her, because Liv is the star, like the absolute star of the women's division on Raw. So if you take, or one of the stars, should I say, but a main star, if you take Raquel away from Liv, away from Roxanne, she's now not just a bodyguard. She's not just a muscle. She's now expected to go out on her own, cut her own promos, have her own matches where it could just be a one-on-one type thing, no outside interference. So now the dynamic is changing. And I think it would be a little premature for her, because I think the improvements she's made over the last several months, since she got some advice from Kevin Nash online, and she implemented that advice, and she's improved exponentially. Honestly, she really, really has. But I would just like to see her stay with Liv and Roxanne for just a little longer. Maybe drag it out till SummerSlam. Just so that or maybe Money in the Bank would be good. But just so that she can continue to be under the learning tree. But I really think that she can be like a major star. I really think that Raquel has improved so much. She's actually surprised me. She surprised me a lot. I know she had some personal issues for a while that were affecting her outside of the ring, like physically. She had some kind of skin condition, and it was really, really bad. So I felt really bad for her, but it's really good. Looks like she's put that behind her, and now she's gas mark 6, full steam ahead. So yeah, I really like her.
Yeah, she's good enough. It's interesting you mentioned the Kevin Nash advice there, because he was a great bodyguard as Diesel for Shawn Michaels in the 90s. So he's obviously a big man himself. And I think Raquel's good. I agree with everything you said. I think she has the potential to be a really good sort of superstar. She kind of reminds me a bit of Victoria as well. Sort of in the 2000s, she's got that kind of look, big, intimidating if she wants to be. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes for her. And before we move on to the last part, quickly, what did you make of Seth Rollins' return to Raw? Obviously returned, to confront. What's the stable called again? I forgot what the stable. Division, yeah. Attacking Paul Heyman, and had all the masked men come out in a segment and divert different parts, like Logan Paul and different members of it, and he come back, and obviously that famous Shield betrayal when he hits Roman Reigns in the back with the steel chair, replicated that. What have you made of his return? Where do you think we'll see Seth Rollins? How do you think we'll see me booked now?
Well, definitely he's going to be babyface. I loved it. It was, I think the Raw that we just saw was one of the most entertaining Raws we've had in like 2 years. Honestly, it was very, very well booked. We've been critical of the booking, but whoever was involved in that, thumbs up. It was brilliant. It was the entertainment, Sometimes it's okay to not do no wrestling. Let's have some entertainment. Let's have some in-ring segments that actually are entertaining. It's not just two guys on the mic. But I liked it a lot. I loved it. I think Seth, he's such a weird guy to speak about, because WWE have put him in a position multiple times now to really be the guy, right? When they first put him with Paul Heyman, I think they were kind of half expecting him to go on this Roman Reigns-esque type run that he had with Paul Heyman. Didn't quite work out. Wasn't quite over. And at times, the chemistry wasn't even there. And then we've seen them position Seth as the top babyface. And again, something is missing with him, I personally don't think he'll ever find it, whatever is missing. That's not to say he's not talented. He's super talented. He can cut a good promo. And besides him be cross-dressing in his wife's clothing when he comes out for the entrance, I think he's excellent.
But do you know what, though? Like, I think like Seth was a point. He was over. I think personally, look at someone like Shawn Michaels in the ring. I think Seth has probably been this generation, right? I think he's been probably the best in-ring performer, to be honest. I remember his match with Dolph Ziggler, the Iron Man match. That was a great match. Look at his entrance as well. That's been over for a long time. The fans love the entrance, and I agree with you. The cross-dressing part, for me personally, I can't take him seriously when he does that. So I can't take the guy seriously. I think again, he's great in the ring, probably the best in-ring performer they've got at the company. You could put Dolph Ziggler in that situation, but he's booked horribly towards the end there. But there's parts of Seth that are definitely over. But I think you're right. He's maybe missing something, but that comes down to to the booking. People are allowing him to go out there and dress the way he's dressing, which is, again, it's entertainment, and people respond to that. You look at some of his WrestleMania outfits; some of them have been outrageous, man.
Yeah, I agree with you. He's fantastic in the ring, and when you look past the weird parts of his persona, or maybe that's just him, I don't know. Yeah, he's really good, but he's not there. He's not Roman Reigns level. He's not Roman Reigns level. He's not. So, but I think they really wanted him to be, and it really felt like with the betrayal at WrestleMania and putting him with Paul Heyman, this was it. This was the time now that actually, you know, he's gonna take the ball and run with it. Not remembering, they thought the same thing. You know, when he cashed in against Roman at WrestleMania, and then after that, you know, he's beat Brock Lesnar, he's beat Triple H, he beat Sting, and you're thinking, you know, like, really, how many chances has this guy had to really be the guy? And he's never done it. You know, he's never actually achieved it. Yeah, he was over, but was he over though? Was he over, or was his entrance over? Because
but he's still part. Like, he's still part of that character, right? That whole product. That he is that guy.
Maybe. I mean, I'm not saying you're right or wrong, but I'm saying, you know, the crowd ain't really giving you too many reactions during your match, or when you can say
the same about Jey Uso. Jey Uso's entrance was over that was over massively, but there's critics about his in-ring stuff. He wasn't legitimate. You know, CM Punk famously gave him a receipt mid-match in the ring.
But there was with Jey a legitimate interest in seeing him grow, seeing him, like, where can he go? How far can he go? And people genuinely wanted him to do well. I'm not saying people don't want Seth Rollins to do well. I'm just saying, I think we've reached a stage with Seth Rollins now where it's like, okay, he's back, really good for the product because he's one of the better guys there. But he's not the guy, and he never will be the guy. And that's where I'm at with him.
Right. Cool. I think to finish off now as well. Listen, WrestleMania is not far away now, but it feels to me, Kieran, like that there's just no real sort of like, there's no hype around, you know, I guess the whole event, man. WrestleMania used to be a thing where, you know, I guess Cody's going into it as champion, but it used to be a thing where you could have missed WrestleMania, but it just feels as if this time around, there's just no hype for WrestleMania at all.
I agree with you. And it's really sad. It's really sad. I mean, I know WrestleMania is always going to be around, right? But it just feels like it's kind of died out, you know? You'd even get like some mainstream buzz around WrestleMania season. Celebs would be talking about it and whatnot. Not there. It's not there. And it's kind of hard to really put my finger on one reason alone why that is. We can talk about the booking, and we can talk about the talent or lack of talent. We can talk about the card. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting though, just to finish off. But we spoke about AJ Styles. He did an interview, I think it was last week, Monday, where he said himself, WrestleMania has lost some of its allure. And when the talent, or now former talent, are saying that, I think it speaks volumes and kind of vindicates and validates what we're saying as fans, lifelong fans as well. And yeah, it's just sad. It's just sad because
it feels like there used to be a time where you feel like something big was going to happen, right? You go back to WrestleMania maybe in 2014 when Daniel Bryan won the championship, right? Or even going back to 2019 when Kofi Kingston became WWE champion, beating Daniel Bryan. It felt as if WrestleMania was building up towards an explosion, something big happening. Even WrestleMania 40, like I know it was 2 nights, but the whole Cody Rhodes finishing his story, everything made sense, right? Where it feels like now, I think how many matches have been confirmed? 5 matches have been confirmed for the card, something like that.
Yeah, 6 matches. Yeah,
6 matches, and it just feels as if it's round the corner, but there's no real direction. We're still second guessing what's going to happen. Of course, there's magic in that in terms of you shouldn't know what's going to happen, but it just felt as if there was stories that were building, and you knew that something would happen at WrestleMania. Somebody would either win a championship or something was going to happen. But now it just feels as if it's like a burst balloon. Nothing's exciting anymore.
I wouldn't even call it a burst balloon. It's it's a balloon. They ain't been blown up. It's just there. It's flaccid, Look,
are you looking forward to it? Are you looking forward to WrestleMania? Or are you not?
No, but once upon a time, WrestleMania for me was unmissable. It was like, listen, you got a girl, you put her on pause. This is the thing, right? Doesn't matter what I'm doing today. It doesn't matter what I'm doing tomorrow. But tonight it's WrestleMania. Now I'm even thinking to myself, maybe I'll just watch it when I wake up. Maybe I won't watch it live, because it's like, do I really want to stay up and watch this? I mean, yeah, it's just sad, Rich. It's sad, man. I really do hope that we see in the next year, post WrestleMania, some changes. So when we can say in a year's time, we'll do another episode and say, do you remember last year when we said that we weren't excited? Well, credit to Triple H, credit to WWE. Now we're excited. Lastly, let me just finish off by saying the only way to save WrestleMania now, or to save my interest, is for this man right here on the left to turn heel. If he turns heel at WrestleMania, then it will be a monumental moment, and it will also be a very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, would that happen? I doubt it, Kieran, to be honest. I don't think it will happen. I think like I said, I think he's better as a babyface. I think he's probably the best babyface. You're probably thinking, but he's not John Cena. Cody Rhodes is a good guy. He's the perfect good guy. I don't think it's like Sting. It wouldn't work. I don't think you turn him heel, it just wouldn't work. In my opinion, I don't think Cody turning heel would be great, to be honest. Some superstars you just like Rey Mysterio being heel, Sting being heel, it won't work, in my opinion.
A lot of people didn't think Hulk Hogan turning heel would work, and he gave us one of the greatest heels of all time in Hollywood Hogan. So listen,
again, he had Kevin Nash and he had Scott Hall, who made that trio legitimate, and he made it make sense and he made it work. If Cody was to turn heel as a solo heel, it's not going to work, Kieran.
I think it could work. I think it could work.
Well, listen, guys, let us know in the comments, man. Do you think it will work? Should Cody Rhodes turn heel at WrestleMania 42? As always, like, subscribe our content. We've got more content coming away. Do you know what? It'd be good to do an episode on the pros and cons of Cody turning heel at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And then I think that could be a good conversation to have. So we can do that before WrestleMania. Again, as always, guys, we're on TikTok, Instagram, subscribe on YouTube. We're also on X as well, so keep up to date with our content on X. Kieran, as always, it's been fantastic to catch up. Yep. And guys, we'll catch you all in the next one.
Catch you in the next one.
Sorry, I caught you.